He is a cultural and entertainment talent named Lu Xinghe in The Best of Us. He is a martial arts mythological forest exploration flower in Laughing Proud Jianghu. He is the legendary spy sea legend Xiao Tu in Invisible Guardian. In The First in the World, he is a beauty lover who doesn't love the country and is carefree, ignored by Hou Zhu. He is the business tycoon Shi Tiandong in Everything is Well. He is the all-around soldier king Zhuang Yan in I Am a Special Forces Soldier. He is the proud Jianghu who turned the tide of the fallen generation in The Legend of Condor Heroes. He is a legendary celestial master in I Have a Date with Zombies. Why bother? He is the immortal giant Lu Xinghe in Zhu Xian. Li Jie. I'm just a salted fish that I don't want to be urged to change. There is a legend that belongs to him that spreads throughout the heavens and all realms, and the legend continues. Current progress. The Best of Us, Xiao Jianghu, Invisible Guardian, The Best in the World, All Quite Good, Divine Eagle Heroes, Joyful Song, I Am Yuhuanshui, Under the Xinjiang Sect, Only 30, Hunting Ground, Silent Truth, I Have a Date with Zombies, Mountains and Seas, Adventure Through the Kanto Region, Chess Soul, The Most Beautiful Youth, Children of the Qiao Family, Ruffian Heroes, Mortal Cultivation, Who is the Murderer, Opponent, Parents Love, Heart Dwelling, World, Struggle, Genius Basic Law. Qingping Lu, De Song Fenghua, Bei, Wandering Earth. Keywords of the novel. The Great Salvation of All Heavens and Boundaries with no pop-ups, complete collection download of The Great Salvation of All Heavens and Boundaries TXT, latest chapter reading of The Great Salvation of All Heavens and Boundaries. Chapter 1. System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 System. In Shenzhen, the July sunshine shines through the gaps between the leaves and falls on the community in the early morning. Li Jie has just finished his morning run. He takes steamed stuffed buns in one hand and soybean milk in the other. Xiao Jie, have you finished your morning exercise? An old man in a white vest led a 5.6-year-old girl slowly towards him. Yeah, I just came back from running. I often sit all day at work. If I don't exercise, my body can't bear it. Uncle Wang, take my granddaughter to school, Li Jie replied with a smile. As he stopped, he continued, Uncle Wang, you're really punctual. Many children are often late for kindergarten now. I'm getting older and now I sleep less. I wake up at midnight every morning. My son and daughter-in-law are usually busy with work, so I take my granddaughter to school every day. However, there aren't many young people like you who wake up early now. Take good care of your young man, I'll leave first. Uncle Wang led his granddaughter slowly out of the community. Li Jie couldn't help but feel envious as he watched the distant figure of his grandfather and grandson. He had grown up in an orphanage since childhood and had never enjoyed the warmth brought by his family. Thanks to my excellent talent and love for literature since childhood, I am now considered a somewhat famous screenwriter. Although I dare not say that I have achieved success or fame, I am still more than capable. Through my own efforts, I finally settled down in Shenzhen. Li Jie, who returned home, finished his breakfast quickly and walked towards the bathroom with his changed clothes. While taking a shower, I was thinking about how to complete my first task. Since I inexplicably received a system to save the heavens and all worlds the day before yesterday, the system released my first task. Lu Xinghe from the world of The Best of Us hopes to save his regrets in life. Maybe I should try to understand what's going on with this system. Li Jie is not an impulsive person. His childhood experiences have led him to carefully consider everything before making a decision, formulate a plan, and then implement his actions according to his own plan. Before entering the task world, he still needs to plan carefully. System. System. What are the rewards or punishments for completing or failing a task? Li Jie asked the system his most concerning question. After completing the task, randomly reward a skill or talent learned by the world host. If the task fails, the system will prohibit activation for 1 year. In what form did I enter the mission world and was there any danger? Li Jie asked the system. The host will enter in the form of soul shuttle, warning. Warning. When the host encounters a threat of death, they can immediately return. If the soul dies, it is true death. For more information, please check it yourself. Electronic synthesized sounds in the brain. It seems that the world of missions is not always smooth sailing. After all, high risk means high returns. If you win a random reward in the world of immortals and knights, then you will be developed. Humph, then you don't want to work when you want to, just go ahead and fish. However, if this task fails, the punishment of prohibiting the use of the system for a year may seem insignificant to Li Jie. However, once exposed to this opportunity, it will be deprived for a year, like a stunning beauty lying next to you, but you cannot do anything to her. Thinking of this, Li Jie feels that the person who customized this rule has malicious intentions. Li Jie continued to browse through the memories instilled in the system while muttering, "It seems that this system is not a companion chat type." Negative review. However, from the perspective of memory, the system is quite humanized. The system will instill the original memory upon entry, and at the same time, on return, it will transform into a documentary type form based on the experiences within the system, making you feel like you have experienced it firsthand without causing cognitive confusion. Li Jie learned through the system that he intervenes in the plot world in the form of soul shuttling each time, and the cycle time for completing each task varies. When Li Jie saw this task, he immediately remembered a popular web drama from a few years ago, and then carefully researched what kind of world it was. The original work is a campus online novel written in Chang'an in August, which was broadcasted in 2016. However, the character Lu Xinghe is not included in the original work of the novel and is a secondary character created in a TV adaptation. However, after watching this web drama, Li Jie realized that this character is really a very tough one. In the drama, the female protagonist can be said to be unwavering. In the drama, Lu Xinghe is a rebellious wealthy second generation who knows music and painting, and can also be said to be versatile. I fell in love with the female lead in my interactions with her. During the 10 years since the male lead left the female lead, I have been accompanying her wholeheartedly and tirelessly. Unfortunately, I couldn't compete with the protagonist's halo, which is also cruel enough. Li Jie was wondering how to break the protagonist's halo, and after careful consideration, he gained inspiration. In the following month, Li Jie consulted multiple sources and selected some selective memories from popular music from 2003 to 2016. Fortunately, he had also studied music for a period of time before and tried to write several songs, but none of them were very good. At the same time, I will recall some popular elements during this period, as well as some of my own experiences over the years. Although Lu Xinghe is a wealthy second generation, at least I need to achieve something. After all, gnawing on old age is not a particularly good thing in the eyes of most people. I have finally planned what will happen after entering. Recently, I have been busy researching various materials and haven't had a good meal. It's time to reward myself. Tut, this dompa braised pork is really good. After finishing this meal beautifully, Li Jie simply put the dishes into the dishwasher and walked to his work desk, thinking that he could slightly adapt his experience of the mission world for each dungeon experience in the future. If he could write his own experience into a script without the background of the original work, then this would be considered as a balance between mission and reality. With a little adaptation, life would also be happy. However, before proceeding with the task, it is important to complete your job before your thoughts are cut off. After all, you need to be well prepared. Thinking about this world, you have been worried about the task world, and the script you need to adapt has not been completed yet. Later, Li Jie picked up his phone and broadcasted a phone call. Teacher Wang, the script I have on hand should be completed in a few days. I'm sorry, there has been some delay recently. I will apologize to you next time when I have time. Okay. I will send it to your email as soon as I finish, and it will definitely not delay the creative cycle. I finally got through it, Li Jie said with lingering fear. Although I used to have salted fish for a while before, I didn't have salted fish for a month. Fortunately, the time given this time was quite sufficient, otherwise it would really be troublesome. I saw Li Jie calmly finishing the final work for a unit he was responsible for while adapting the script for My Best Friend's Foot in front of the computer screen. New book, Great Song Dynasty. I am the world, welcome to Jump, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Entry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Entry. After completing all the preparation work, Li Jie carefully checked everything that was not missed. With a big wave of his hand, System, prepare to enter the mission world. Cold. Shake. This is naturally impossible. After experiencing the darkness in front of me, I slowly opened my eyes and stood up to observe the room. A bedroom of about 40 square meters, apparently located on the second floor, followed by a glance at the luxurious home decor surrounding it. Hey, in 2003, it seems that Lu Xinghe's from a decent family. Then I glanced at the electronic alarm clock by the bedside. At 7:10 a.m. on August 10, 2003, it seemed that the timeline should be the time when high school had not yet started. So now the first thing to do is to let my original father exert his influence and assign himself to class 15 of the first year of high school. To save time, I will have to switch classes privately to get close to Gung Gung. Well, let's first organize our original memories carefully. After all, there isn't much description of Lu Xinghe's parents in the drama. Through our original memories, we learned that Lu Xinghe's father got married 3 times and his mother remarried. This is probably the main reason for Lu Xinghe's rebellion. Currently, he lives alone, and his father has found an aunt to take care of his daily life. This also made it easier for Li Jie to handle the relationship between his original self and his parents. After all, he has been alone since childhood and has no family, so he really doesn't know how to handle this kind of emotion. From memory, Lu Xinghe doesn't have much understanding of his parents' specific work. Apart from his own pocket money that he can't use up, there are not many other aspects, only some daily memories. The original owner was just a child who had just graduated from junior high school, and he only wanted to attract the attention of his parents through rebellion. However, he didn't need to pay attention to his previous classmates, as he was about to go to Zhenhua High School for high school. As Li Jie flipped through his memories in his mind, he walked towards the shower in his memory and realized that it was even bigger than his bedroom in Xincheng. He couldn't help but feel that he had fought for so many years and was better off reincarnating. Looking at his unfamiliar and young face in the mirror, it seemed that he would have to live with this face in the future. Looking at the young and slightly handsome face in front of him, Li Jie was filled with emotions. The power of the system is truly terrifying, and what is the significance of the system? Is it just about completing those rescue tasks in the heavens and realms as the system claims? Forget it, this is not something I can speculate about now. Li Jie thinks he will always know in the future, so take it as it comes. After washing up, Li Jie walked downstairs and saw Aunt Zhang, who was busy in the kitchen, saying, "Aunt Zhang, what delicious food did you prepare in the morning?" "I have prepared your favorite snow vegetables, shredded pork, and noodles. In the morning, I got up early and went to buy fresh pork. I quickly washed up and prepared to eat," Aunt Zhang said loudly while busy. Aunt Zhang's real name is Zhang Lu. In the second year of junior high school, Lu Xinghe moved out to live alone after learning about his father's third marriage. Lu's father couldn't bear the big argument and arranged for his previous family's nanny, Aunt Zhang, to take care of Lu Xinghe. After all, he had been with the Lu family for 5 years and was quite familiar with Lu Xinghe. Knowing the root of the situation was reassuring. "I have already washed up, is there anything I can help with?" Li Jie responded as he walked towards the kitchen, saying that he had also practiced his cooking skills diligently. Seeing Lu Xinghe walking over, Aunt Zhang quickly replied, "No need, you haven't been in the kitchen since you were young. What can you do to help? It will be fine soon. Go to the restaurant and wait." Li Jie didn't change at all. After all, he had lived alone for more than 20 years and couldn't adapt to becoming a junior high school student. Thinking about it, he slowly walked towards the restaurant. Suddenly, in 2003, I was really not used to it. Without a smartphone, I felt like something was missing. There was actually a computer in the study, but I didn't have much expectation for this ancient-era network. While thinking and preparing for the future, my primary goal in the near future is to have my dad adjust himself to class 5. However, I don't know exactly when Gung Gung started liking photography. Let's observe after school. Li Jie thought of reading photography-related books first in the future, and then buying a set of equipment to learn. The noodles are here, what is Xinghe thinking? Is it a bit uncomfortable to go to Zhenhua school right away? Aunt Zhang walked up to the table with shredded pork noodles and pickled vegetables. No, schools are almost there now. With just a little effort, we can catch up. Right, our Milky Way is the smartest, Aunt Zhang replied with a smile. Auntie, how can I get to Zhenhua from my house? Is it far? I haven't been to school yet, Li Jie said while eating pickled vegetables, shredded pork, and noodles. Don't worry, your father has already arranged everything. When the time comes, the driver Lao Lu will take you to school, Aunt Zhang replied while eating. No need, just tell me how to get there. I'll just go by bike then. How can we do that? You're so big, what should we do if there's an accident? How can I explain it to your father? Aunt Zhang said urgently. I'm already in high school, so I'm old enough to take care of myself, and having the driver take me off is not good for me to make friends at school in the future. I don't want it to be too special. I'll talk to Lao Lu about this later, Li Jie said seriously, looking up. Xinghe, your father is actually quite difficult. Since the last time you had an argument, you have been calling him Lao Lu, and not Dad anymore. Isn't that not good? Li Jie thought to himself, it would be easier for me to handle this, but will the father-son relationship also be one of Lu Xinghe's regrets? Whether or not you want to improve the relationship between father and son, it's still difficult to change your way of addressing yourself. Let's stick to the old ways. Even if the relationship improves, addressing is not important. Let's call it that way for now. Li Jie smiled and said, Aunt Zhang, let me talk to Lao Lu about this on the phone later. I happen to have something to discuss with him on my end. I want to go to school by bike and try to exercise myself. After entering high school, my studies are tense, and I will have much less time to exercise. Okay, but please tell your dad not to start arguing on the phone. After all, it's just a father and son. How could there be so many arguments? As he cleared up his dishes, he walked towards the kitchen. Li Jie thought to himself, it's okay for you to say this to me, but it may not have much effect when talking to the rebellious Lu Xinghe before. Let's start with the first step, starting with the transfer plan. In addition, Gung Gung in the drama prefers photography. Lu Xinghe himself is also an art student, and photography is primarily based on composition and aesthetics. People with an art background are better than those without foundation, and their talent in art is quite important. Since Gung Gung can become the chief photographer of the magazine, he can still find common topics in art. Now it seems that we need to study photography-related knowledge well during the remaining time of the holiday. I don't know if Harbin has a training course in this area in 2003. If not, we can only find a cinema to study, but fortunately, we have enough pocket money. Seeking collection, recommendation/dog head, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. First Sight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 First Sight. In the blink of an eye, it has been a week since entering this world, and Li Jie has gradually adapted to life in 2003. A few days ago, he selected several movie studios in the city, one of which is called Time Shadow. He has made an appointment to come and study next time. Coincidentally, I came back from a business trip today. It's time to mention the matter of class division. Aunt Zhang, tonight I'll go to the old road, you don't have to make my meal, Li Jie said while putting on his shoes. Okay, I got it. Speak up and don't argue easily. Well, I will pay attention. Not far ahead, it should have arrived. Looking at the straight and lush avenue in front of him in the evening sunlight, walking towards the house in his memory, Li Jie's heart couldn't help but tighten. Ding dong. Ding dong. A slightly hurried sound of footsteps came, and a face that disgusted Li Jie appeared in front of the door as it opened. Xiao Lu, come in quickly. You're tired. Auntie cooked your favorite food tonight, the woman in front of her said awkwardly. Dressed in a visibly homely attire with a touch of light makeup, she looks around 30 years old with delicate features, somewhat reminiscent of the young version of Zhang Jingchu. Thank you auntie. Have you arrived home on the old road yet? Li Jie walked into a somewhat unfamiliar but familiar house. Arrived, didn't you say you had something to discuss with him? After discussing the matter over there, I hurried back. Xinghe has returned. Didn't you say you were interested in photography before? I specifically asked someone to buy a set of the latest Canon 10D, and when you go back, you can bring it with you. Learn photography well and take promotional photos for your family and company in the future. Lu Xinghe said boldly. Old road, I'm about to start school. In my first year of high school, I want to be assigned to class 5. You can talk to Xiao Pan later. Why, instead of studying in the key class, go to the regular class? Lu Xinghe frowned and said seriously. You assign me to class 5, and I promise to get you into a good university and I won't fall behind in your grades, Li Jie said stiffly. Tell me, what other requirements are there? I don't know your caution yet. Hee, I can't hide anything from you. I have a friend named Yu Huai who has excellent grades, but he was assigned to class 5 due to poor performance. You can transfer him to class 1. Also, my previous statement about studying hard is not a joke. When you see that my mid-term grades are good and I don't do well, I will make any arrangements for you. Well, I got it, let's eat, said Lu Xinghe as he walked towards the restaurant, followed closely by Li Jie. An awkward atmosphere gradually permeated the dining table. Since Li Jie arrived at the table, he remained silent and buried himself in eating, unable to find any topics to talk about. Fortunately, the basic tasks have been completed, and from then on, Gung Gung and Yu Huai have basically become two parallel lines that will never intersect. After finishing his meal, Li Jie left with a backpack carrying a camera and lens. After Li Jie left, Huang Li hesitated for a moment and said in confusion, Old Lu, do you think Xinghe is a bit different from before today? He didn't give me a face when he saw me, and he didn't argue with you either. What's so strange? It's not good for you anymore, Lu Xinghe replied with a smile. Perhaps a person has grown up after moving out, but it's better than before. Huang Li continued to tidy up the food on the table with doubts, so she didn't even think about it. The next day, Li Jie rode his newly purchased bicycle with equipment to the previously confirmed cinema. The Silhouette of Time is located on Central Street, which is the most Western-style place in Harbin. The formation of this street can be traced back to 1898, with a long history. The entire street is paved with square stones and gathers various styles of Renaissance, Baroque, eclectic, and modern architecture. It is a rare architectural art corridor in China. Li Jie parked his car and walked into this cinema with a clearly Renaissance-style architecture. Hello, what can I do for you? A gentle and sweet voice came from the front, looking at the sweet and charming little sister. Li Jie smiled and said, Oh, I made an appointment with photographer Tian to learn photography from him before. He should be here today. Oh, you're Lu Xinghe, right? He told me before that the office where he went upstairs and turned left to the end is his. You can go up there. Okay, thank you, beautiful woman. After speaking, he walked upstairs. Looking at Tian Xiao, who was busy talking to his assistant, Li Jie stood on the side waiting. Tian Xiao, who was discussing the shooting plan, looked up and saw Li Jie. Xinghe, you're here. Wait a moment, I'll be fine in a while. It's okay, Tian. You're busy, don't worry. By the way, I would like to introduce you to Xinghe. This is my assistant Xiao Zhang, and Xiao Zhang is the Lu Xinghe that I mentioned to you before. Hello, Zhang Xiao said as he looked at Li Jie. Hello, Lu Xinghe. Please give me more guidance in the future. Xinghe, you can first learn the basic content from Xiao Zhang, and when you advance, I will personally guide you. Tian Xiao pointed to a pile of books on his desk. These books, you can take them back when you have time to read, which are more suitable for beginners' introductory books. After Tian Xiao finished communicating with his assistant, Tian Xiao took Li Jie to explore the internal environment of the cinema first, and then walked towards the exhibition room of the cinema. You can first observe the composition of these works, and as for the color, light and shadow, you can slowly learn. If you take Xiao Zhang on a tour, I will be busy first, Tian Xiao said to the assistant following beside him. During the period before the start of school, Li Jie learned a lot of introductory knowledge with Zhang Xiao and gradually developed a strong interest in photography. In the blink of an eye, it was time for the start of school. Li Jie got up early and looked around to see how Gung Gung's head got stuck in the doorway. After breakfast, he rode his bike to the incident site. I saw a petite girl getting stuck in the doorway, either entering or exiting. Classmate, do you need any help? Li Jie patted her shoulder. I dropped my camera inside and reached out to pick it up. I can't get the camera head out anymore. What should I do now? Gung Gung cried. Li Jie looked at the situation in front of him, and even though he could easily get out by turning his body, someone was so foolish that he said, Classmate, try turning your body and see if you can get out. Oh, yes, I didn't expect it. Gung Gung quickly turned his body to one side, and his head smoothly crawled out. He turned around and looked up at Li Jie with a shy expression on his face, saying, Thank you, classmate. By the way, I'm Gung Gung. I came to school today to report. Looking at the fair face in front of him, his big eyes that seemed to speak, and his stubbornly combed hair, Li Jie couldn't help but say this damn sweetness in his heart. You're welcome, my name is Lu Xinghe and I'm here to report today. Be careful next time, by the way, hurry up and leave, otherwise the report will be late. Li Jie walked towards the school with steps. Looking at Li Jie walking ahead, Gung Gung thought to himself, I've really lost my life today. This is revenge for me, a scumbag, being able to get into Zhenhua. It's really unlucky. Ah. You're so angry. How could I be so foolish today? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. You at the same table. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. You at the same table. Zhenhua Middle School is a provincial level key high school in Heilongjiang Province. Since 1995, most of the top scorers in the college entrance examination have come from here. It can be said that it is a concentration camp for academic elites. The scene of entering the campus is no different from that of ordinary high schools. The comprehensive building, playground, and teaching building are also in a popular style. The classroom also looks ordinary. It's hard to imagine so many top scorers in the college entrance examination. On the first day of school, the classroom was a chaotic mess, with unfamiliar students chattering and discussing various things that happened during the summer vacation. Looking at his immature face in front of him, Li Jie suddenly felt that his future days at school would be very boring. After all, children are too young and there is a generation gap. It seems that besides getting along well with Gung Gung, the remaining time should be used to create well. There happened to be 2 empty seats, and Li Jie put down his backpack and sat down, taking out photography and composition to read. Classmate, is there anyone here? A voice with a clearly changing duck voice sounded from beside me. Looking up, Li Jie glanced at the little boy with thick black framed eyes in front of him. Sorry, there are already people here, and there are many empty seats next to them, he said, eyed man. Later, people came to ask one after another, and Li Jie had already dismissed him for the same reason. Until Gung Gung walked into the classroom, she glanced around and was clearly stunned when she saw Li Jie. How could it be him? He happens to be in the same class as me, and there are only available seats next to him. What should I do? It's so confusing. Hey Gung Gung, come over and take a seat. I just looked at the class schedule and saw that your name has specially taken a seat for you. Suddenly, there was a silence around, and several classmates who had just been sent away by Li Jie looked at Li Jie and Gung Gung with obvious gossiping eyes. A man about 1.7 meters tall, with a mustache and a smile on his face, thin and with withered yellow hair, wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, walked into the classroom. Hey, why don't you sit down with that female classmate? Hurry up and find a vacant seat to sit down. Never mind, Gung Gung walked towards the empty seat next to Li Jie with a hesitant expression. Hello everyone, welcome to Zhenhua. I am your homeroom teacher and physics teacher, my name is Zhang Ping. As she spoke, she swiped her fingers and drew her own name. Let me give you a name first, let's get to know each other and introduce ourselves, she said as she looked at the class list on the podium. Su Yanliang, hello everyone, my name is Su Yanliang and I come from the affiliated middle school of Normal University. Lu Xinghe, hello everyone, my name is Lu Xinghe and I enjoy drawing, photography, and music. Nice to meet everyone. Oh, he also likes photography. Gung Gung glanced at Li Jie's desk and saw the book, Photography and Composition. He was overjoyed that fellow students are not the kind of nerd-type academic achievers. It seems that there will be common topics in the future. Are there any classmates who haven't been named yet? Gung Gung raised his hand and said, Teacher, I wasn't called on. What's your name? My name is Gung Gung, are you from our class? Zhang Ping nervously flipped through the student list and saw a lonely name on the last page. Sorry, your name is on the last page and I didn't notice. Could you please introduce yourself? My name is Gung Gung, from number 13 middle school. 13 high schools, you can also get into Zhenhua, a voice full of doubts and contempt blurted out. Yeah, otherwise why is the name on the last page? With a loud bang, the class suddenly became lively again because of the 13th middle school. Looking at Gung Gung, who was feeling disheartened, Li Jie said, Don't pay attention to them. My grades are not good either. Look, we have a good relationship. We just met this morning and now we're sitting at the same table. The first step is preliminary completion. If it were a game, would it be possible to jump out of the table and achieve success? Li Jie was lost in thought. It's nothing, I'll be fine in a while. Lu Xinghe, do you also like photography? Gung Gung asked weakly, pointing to the photography book on the desk. Yes, but I have just started learning. You must also love photography when you bring your camera to school. We should communicate more in our spare time, Li Jie replied with a smile. Okay, I'm just playing around and not particularly good at it. On the day before the National Day holiday, Li Jie did not do anything else during his time at school. After all, Yu Huai had already been assigned to class 1 by himself, and now he was sitting at the same table as Gung Gung. As the saying goes, the moon comes first when the water is close, and there is no rush. With years of experience and sufficient preparation, it is difficult to succeed. Recently, Gung Gung has been quite satisfied with this new desk mate, but it's a bit strange. She noticed that Li Jie usually doesn't pay much attention in class, either reading photography books or writing at his desk. It seems like he's just a scumbag like herself. I have asked several times myself, but it seems that Li Jie doesn't have much enthusiasm for learning. Humph, what do you do when you see the mid-term exam? Have you read the latest issue of Sprout? There is a serialized article titled The Devotion of Suspect X on it. It's really beautiful, I wish I could finish it all in one go. Su Yanliang in the front row said to the chubby guy next to him. Humph, I finished reading it a long time ago. Do you have any recent insider information you want to know? Regarding the author's news for tomorrow, said the chubby little man with a proud expression on his face. What, come on, don't be too presumptuous. I'll take care of the National Day homework, Su Yanliang asked urgently. It is said that the person who wrote this novel is still a high school student. I don't know which school students are so talented. Li Jie perked up his ears when he heard this. What, I already knew about this news. How could it be that if a high school student could write it, I would just eat the book, Su Yanliang said without hesitation. Li Jie thought to himself, hee, I'm afraid you're really going to eat the book. You thought my identity was exposed, but fortunately it just leaked out as a high school student. So many high school students across the country couldn't guess it was me. After all, I signed a confidentiality agreement with the magazine back then. But for the sake of our friendship with classmates, it's better not to say it out loud, so as not to let you eat books. After school, Li Jie waited at the school gate for Gung Gung, preparing to invite her to go out for the National Day holiday to gather some fresh air and enhance our relationship. Looking at the young and lively students wearing school uniforms in front of him, Li Jie's mentality did not get close to getting younger. Watching Gung Gung and Zhuang Yan jokingly walk over, Li Jie waved his hand. Gung Gung, where is your little son waiting for you? Zhuang Yan joked in his tone. What, we're just sitting at the same table, it should be like we went out to take photos together for the National Day we agreed on before. Gung Gung looked at Zhuang Yan with helplessness. Wow. Is this the rhythm of dating? Li Jie smiled helplessly as he looked at Zhuang Yan's gossipy expression. High school life was like this, with a little wind and grass blowing like a typhoon quickly blowing across the entire campus. It seems that I need to be a little more careful in the future. If it makes Gung Gung dislike me, it won't be good. Beta, don't talk nonsense. We're just going to my photography teacher to learn photography, Li Jie said slowly with a smile on his face as he walked towards the two of them. Okay, don't worry, I won't talk nonsense. Gung Gung is the one I took photos of. His bold expression made people laugh uncontrollably. Beta, I'll go with Lu Xinghe first. See you after National Day. Also, remember this is not a date, it's not a date. Gung Gung's face turned slightly red and he said angrily. Oh, what's wrong with me? I feel my heart beating so fast. Zhuang Yan watched as the two figures gradually drifted away under the sunset, looking quite compatible. He didn't know what they were thinking. A gust of wind blew by and he looked around at the sparse crowd. Zhuang Yan hummed a new song that had recently become popular on campus while walking and singing. Will you remember tomorrow the diary you wrote yesterday? Do you still remember tomorrow you, who used to love crying the most? The crisp and bright girl's voice hummed along the way. Seeking collection and recommendation, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. National Day Holiday. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 National Day Holiday. On the first day of the National Day holiday, Li Jie finished breakfast in the morning and said, Aunt Zhang, I won't be at home for lunch anymore. I'll go to the cinema to learn photography. After that, he carried his equipment and walked out of the house. Ah, I got it. I'll make you your favorite elbow tonight, Zhang Lu said loudly towards the door. When Li Jie rode his bike to Central Street, he saw from afar that Gung Gung was enthusiastically holding up his camera and taking pictures everywhere. She was truly a spirited little girl. Wow. Isn't this internationally renowned photographer Gung Gung? How could I meet you here? I am your loyal fan. Li Jie said seriously. Don't make a fuss, Lu Xinghe. Didn't you say you're going to your teacher's place? Let's go. Li Jie couldn't help but laugh as he looked at Gung Gung, who was clearly feeling a bit pleased but pretended to be serious. In October, the daytime temperature in Harbin was around 10 degrees, which made Li Jie, who grew up in the south, a bit uncomfortable. Today, when he went out, he wore a thin khaki coat and a light-colored sweater on his upper body, paired with light-colored jeans on his lower body. Even so, there was still a slight chill in the morning. Looking at the simple pink hoodie and jeans, Li Jie felt that his cold resistance skills were not enough. Is this the cinema where your master is? Time silhouette, there are so many great gods inside. Gung Gung recounted the awards and celebrities that Time Silhouette had won in the past. Yeah, my master is Tian Shao. Let's go. I made an appointment with him before. Entering the door and looking at the slightly crowded hall, Gung Gung couldn't help but imagine a happy couple about to enter the hall of marriage while listening to the melodious singing. You are my most important decision. I am willing to wake up by your side every day. Even arguing is very enjoyable and not cold because true love has no wins or losses, only intimacy. You are my most important decision. I am willing to break the fear of the unknown. Even if you shed tears, it can still clear up. Let's compare ourselves to each other because there is no shortcut to happiness, only management. Listening to the familiar background music, Li Jie didn't expect that his new song, which he had just written for a while, had already spread here. However, this song is indeed very suitable for the atmosphere here. When I walked to Tian Zhao's office on the second floor, I saw him saying goodbye to a very attractive young man and woman. Tian Xiaojing looked at Li Jie and said, Xinghe, you're here. Is this the desk mate you mentioned before? You look very energetic. Yeah, Tian Gu, this is Gung Gung. Come with me these days to learn from you. Could you please? Did I bring all the lenses I asked you to bring last time? I happen to give you a detailed explanation these days. It's all with me, but I've encountered some problems recently and I'm asking for your advice. Li Jie pointed to the equipment bag on his back. The afternoon sun shone through the old-fashioned glass windows on the sofa in the office, and Li Jie felt a hint of warmth. The sunlight fell on Gung Gung's serious face, and Li Jie suddenly had a special impulse to record the scene in front of him. In the afternoon, a young girl was studying eagerly under the mottled light and shadow. Click. Gung Gung was awakened by the sudden shutter sound, and his face blushed inexplicably as he looked at Li Jie holding a camera. When it comes to lenses, they can be divided into zoom and fixed focus according to focal length. There are differences in the subjects captured by different lenses, but there are no strict restrictions. For example, some photographers may say that a fixed focus lens is more suitable for capturing portraits, a wide-angle lens is more suitable for capturing landscapes, and so on. In the following days, Li Jie and Gung Gung studied diligently every day under the guidance of Tian Shao. Occasionally, Tian Shao also took the two of them out to take photos and let them practice well. Xinghe, Gung Gung, I'm going on a business trip to Xiamen City tomorrow. You can have free time tomorrow and show me the photos you took later, Tian Shao said at the end of a day's teaching. After a busy and fulfilling day, Li Jie brought Gung Gung to the Central Street snack street. Gung Gung, tomorrow happens to be the last day of the holiday. Tian Gu is on a business trip, or should we go outside to take photos tomorrow? Li Jie said, holding the ice cream he just bought from a cold drink in Medell. Okay, then tomorrow you will be my official model. Gung Gung stared at the popsicle in Li Jie's hand. Snacks, Li Jie thought to himself as he touched Gung Gung's head. Gung Gung lay in bed at night and suddenly remembered Beta's words about dating before her vacation. Her cheeks turned red, right? It wasn't a date, it was just learning to take photos together, and then she fell asleep in her wild thoughts. In the morning, Li Jie woke up and looked out the window. Looking at the sunshine outside, his heart couldn't help but feel warm. It seemed like another good day. Amidst Aunt Zhang's nagging, Li Jie walked out of the house. Outside the old road, an old urban area that carries memories and memories in the hearts of the people of Lao Ha City, can be called a living fossil. Although it inevitably declines in today's social changes, it does not prevent it from displaying a completely different style in cities filled with steel and cement. The antique Baroque architecture is very suitable for taking vintage photos, immersing oneself in it as if traveling back to the old Harbin city of the last century. Lu Xinghe, move a little to the left. Oh, right, that's the angle, perfect. The soft and glutinous girl's voice echoed in the empty street, with a joyful expression on her face as if she had found a novel toy, constantly directing Lu Xinghe to create various shapes. The two of them kept shuttling through the retro streets like searching for treasure. Alright, it's almost my turn to take pictures. You've been taking pictures all day, said Lu Xinghe, who was still eagerly patting himself under the sunset. Huh, really? I don't feel like time flies so fast at all. I really hope tomorrow is also a day off. Alright, I'll allow your request. If you like it so much, next time we come out together, there are many places like Sophia Church, Binjiang Railway Bridge, Chunli Music Park, Volga Manor, and so on that can be visited no less than here. Okay, next time we'll go together, that's settled, said with a determined tone of joy. After taking the last set of photos, Lu Xinghe looked at the already dark sky and said, let's go, I'll take you to eat fried chicken. Ronghua fried chicken is super delicious. Ah, I still want to eat, but I'm so full. I can't eat anymore. Gung, patting his stomach, clearly felt a bit unsatisfied. We can come again next time and set a small goal, to eat all the delicious food in Harbin in 3 years of high school, Lu Xinghe urged. Oh, that's a good proposal. Miss, I agree. Xiao Lu, look at the reward. As we walked out of the restaurant, the dim yellow street lights combined with colorful neon lights created another scene outside the old road. The century-old stormy streets were adorned with modern lighting, emitting a charming atmosphere. Watching Gung indulge in the beautiful scenery before him, with a puzzled expression on his face, Lu Xinghe suggested, Gung, either we'll stay here for a while and I'll take a taxi to take you back later. This way, it won't be much later than taking the bus back. Not very good, may I trouble you too much? It's okay, it's not troublesome, it's on the way. After seeing off Gung, on the way back, Lu Xinghe recalled his actions in entering the dungeon world, and his relationship with Gung was steadily advancing. The devotion of Suspect X is currently being serialized, and his several songs have only been released for the time being, including You at the Same Table, and You Are My Most Important Decision. The remaining songs seem to have not yet found suitable candidates to sing. The development of things is basically within one's own planning, so take it step by step and relive campus time. Signed, Book Friends Can Invest in a Wave, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Mid-Term Exam. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Mid-Term Exam. As the mid-term exam approaches, a tense atmosphere permeates the campus of Jianhua Middle School, especially in the first year of high school. As it is the first major exam since the start of the school year, the top students are rubbing their hands and the bottom students are trembling. Lu Xinghe doesn't have much feeling about the upcoming midterm exam. After all, he used to be the top student every time he studied, and he was a regular recipient of national scholarships in college. If it weren't for the pressure of life, he would have at least one associate professor title now. Studying high school now is like a top-tier university ravaging a novice village. There's nothing to be nervous about. However, looking at Gung's recent confusion, it seems that it is time to provide her with appropriate tutoring after the mid-term exam. She does not expect to do too well or perform too poorly, as university doesn't matter to her and she doesn't need to rely on a little education to prove herself. But for the first experience, it should still be quite important. Lu Xinghe, the mid-term exam is coming soon, why aren't you nervous at all? Gung said with a worried expression. There's nothing to be nervous about, just taking an exam is not easy. Humph, you're always bragging. You either read extracurricular books or write something in class. Can you do well on exams? Isn't it just giving up on yourself? For someone like him who relies on relationships to enter Zhenhua, of course he doesn't care about his grades. He's just a scumbag. It's not enough for me to fight with one hand, suddenly interrupted the glasses man at the back desk, seeming to be a bit resentful of Li Jie's disregard at the beginning of the school year. Li Jie ignored his words and said to Gung Gung, I usually don't listen to classes because I have already finished studying, but there is nothing to be nervous about in exams. You should relax and believe in yourself. You are unique. I see you're a cooked duck, you must have a hard mouth. The glasses man said angrily at Li Jie's disregard. Why are you like this? You keep talking non-stop, and Lu Xinghe doesn't even want to talk to you. Why are you still chasing after me? Gung Gung couldn't bear this behavior and defended himself in a low voice. It's okay, after this exam, he will know what kind of person I am. Li Jie waved his hand and said to Gung Gung. On Wednesday, November 12th, the first year of high school at Zhenhua Middle School welcomed the mid-term exam. The exam subjects include Chinese, mathematics, English, physics, biology, chemistry, history, politics, and geography, totaling 9 subjects. The 3-day midterm exam adds a bit of a serious atmosphere to the campus. The first one to take the exam was Chinese. Li Jie played normally and was as steady as an old dog. He wrote all the topics except for the composition in 1.5 hours. The composition topic was a bit interesting. Li Jie took a little trouble to finish the composition. Well, it must be a high score without accident. The first exam subject in the afternoon was mathematics, which was even easier for Li Jie. Set, sin alpha and tan beta some elementary functions for Li Jie are just scoring questions, and he can even complete the exam with his eyes closed. In just 40 minutes, Li Jie answered all the questions and checked them. However, according to the regulations of Zhenhua Middle School, students are not allowed to submit their papers in advance. Li Jie's remaining time can only be used to conceive the follow-up plot of The Devotion of Suspect X. The second exam in the afternoon was physics, and Li Jie looked down upon Zhang Ping slightly after answering the paper. Your presentation was a bit too simple, it really didn't match the temperament of Zhenhua. On Thursday, I will take English and biology exams in the morning, and chemistry and geography exams in the afternoon. On Friday morning, after finishing the political and history exams, the 3-day midterm exams came to an end. The students breathed a sigh of relief and returned to their usual state. At noon, the top students were busy studying exam questions and answering them together, while the bottom students lamented how difficult the exam questions were and how difficult they couldn't do them at all. In the exam room, it is basically a state of confusion about who I am, where I am, and what I want to do. Oh, Lu Xinghe, this exam is so difficult. It's a disaster. I'm going back to my original form. Gung Gung walked to his seat dejected. Yeah, I didn't know many of the questions this time, so I guess I'll miss them. Beta stood next to Gung Gung and agreed. Do you have it? I thought it was very simple, I've basically finished writing it, Li Jie replied casually. Hehe, this exam is indeed a bit difficult. I think you wrote randomly, right? The glasses man continued sarcastically, not forgetting Li Jie's previous disregard. Still ignoring him, Li Jie continued to say to Gung Gung, once the test papers are distributed, I will give you a tutorial on the questions you made mistakes to deepen your influence. You are preparing a mistake book, and I will help you with the tutorial in the future. Forget it, I guess you didn't do much better than me when you don't study on a regular basis. It's better to enroll in a tutoring class. After finishing, Gung Gung sorted out his backpack and prepared to go back for a happy weekend, comforting his heart that had been ravaged by exams. Oh, Gung Gung, what should I do? Zhang Ping will announce his grades for school next Monday, and I will die this time, Beta said with lingering fear. I have passed the exam. Let's face the coming storm. Luxing, Beta and I are leaving first. We have made an appointment to have a good meal and buy something to comfort our injured souls, Gung Gung said, standing up with his backpack on his back. Well, enjoy the peaceful weekend time and be careful on the way. Okay, I got it. Every time I talk so much, I've walked this road countless times. Although Gung Gung said so, she still enjoyed nagging Li Jie like an old lady. She knew it was because Li Jie cared about her that he kept saying that. On Monday, Li Jie walked into the class and clearly felt that the atmosphere was a bit unusual. Small groups formed by classmates in groups of 3 or 2 were discussing the midterm exam that ended last week. The academic scumbags were like prisoners waiting for the final verdict, with a grim expression on their faces, while the academic elites were clearly eager to try, like the old farmers eagerly anticipating the harvest. Kicking, Zhang Ping, dressed in work clothes, walked towards the podium and said firmly, "Classmates, the mid-term exam results have come out. Here, I want to praise some people and criticize others. Alright, let's start distributing the transcripts. I will first report the results of the top 3 places. Here, I would like to pay special tribute to my fellow student, Lu Xinghe. This time, I ranked first in the entire grade in the Lu Xinghe exam. Now, I will recite the results of the top 3 places. Lu Xinghe, Chinese 146, Mathematics 150, English 148, Physics 100, Chemistry 100, Biology 100, History 95, Politics 93, Geography 98, with a total score of 1030, ranked first in the class and also in the grade. As soon as the words fell, the whole class fell silent, as if the ban button had been pressed. Upon hearing this result, the man with glasses felt ashamed when he remembered his previous sarcastic remarks about Li Jie. Wow! That's amazing! You're such a top student. Lu Xinghe, Nyobi. How did he do it? He's so strong. Han Su, Chinese 130, Mathematics 145, English 130, Physics 95, Chemistry 90, Biology 93, History 88, Politics 91, Geography 89, with a total score of 951, ranked second in the class. Alright, classmates. The above are the top 3 grades in the class. I hope everyone will continue to work hard next time. Those who did not do well should not be discouraged, and those who did well should not be proud to continue. Let's start class. This class will cover the exam papers. After finishing the grades, Gung finally came to his senses and said, "Lu Xinghe, you're so amazing. So what you said before was true. You didn't lie to me. Of course, it's a small joke. Now you believe in my abilities. I'll help you with tutoring later." "Learning is very easy," said Li Jie calmly. I'll rely on you for my grades in the future," Gung said with his hands clasped in admiration. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The Devotion of Suspect X, Hot Discussion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, The Devotion of Suspect X, Hot Discussion. The campus was quiet and terrifying at noon, with only the wind blowing through the leaves and making rustling sounds. The quiet atmosphere of entering the first-year high school teaching building is gone. Standing in the hallway, you can clearly hear whispers all around. The first-year high school students who have been attending classes all morning do not choose to take a nap like the third-year high school students, but are full of vitality. This question type, as I mentioned to you before, is one of its variants. "Let me tell you again," Li Jie said gently to Gung. "I'm sorry, am I too stupid? I always forget what you taught me before," Gung cautiously whispered to Li Jie. "No, you have already performed very well. Look at the results of the last month's exam, didn't you already rank 25th in your class? Compared to your previous grades, you have made great progress. Teacher Zhang Ping has been praising you recently." Li Jie touched Gung's head and comforted him with a spoiled tone. Su Yanliang, look at the reports I recently collected about the devotion of Suspect X. As a loyal fan of Tomorrow, Little Fatty has recommended the novel Amway to the whole class, gradually collecting all the reports about the devotion of Suspect X. If you show me these, I might as well read the novel again from scratch, wasting time. However, Su Yanliang's gaze had already betrayed him, and he looked straight at the report in the hands of the little fat man. After reading a novel, if it gives people an impulse to cry, then the book should have been at least half successful. Suspect X's devotion achieved this. Ximin Evening News, a genius work by a genius writer, a showdown between two genius opponents. Yangqing Evening News, this is the best novel of the year. Literary review, Jiang Lang's talent is exhausted. The genius writer will have 2 episodes tomorrow. Southern Weekend, it's really exciting. This is the best novel I've ever read, the chubby little boasted as if it were written by himself. I can't agree more, but there are 2 more issues tomorrow. I don't know if the inspiration is exhausted as reported, said Su Yanliang, taking a stout look at the little fat man and feeling a little guilty. Nonsense. How could it be? There must be something to delay tomorrow, so wait for these unscrupulous media to have their faces swollen. The little chubby man argued excitedly in his voice, as if he was about to hit the next second. Sure enough, I shouldn't have said that in front of him. I knew he was tomorrow's brainless fan. Su Yanliang looked at the excited chubby little man and sneered, yes, this kind of genius writer will definitely not run out of ideas. These media are not trustworthy. Not trustworthy. This kind of scene is not the first time it has appeared, not only frequently on campus, but now with the hot serialization of The Devotion of Suspect X, society is filled with praise and discussion for this novel, no less than the hot discussion during the broadcast of Huan Zhu Gu Gu in the main world. At the beginning of the serialization, Li Jie thought that The Devotion of Suspect X would become popular because this novel had already been tested in the main world and received many praises. However, he still did not expect it to become so popular in the plot world. Because Li Jie has been busy tutoring Gung Gung recently, it has delayed the update of the novel and cut off 2 issues. Editor-in-Chief Liang repeatedly called to urge articles. If it weren't for considering that Li Jie was still in high school, he might have already brought his knife to the door to urge updates. Letters urging updates flooded into the magazine like snowflakes, and the magazine's line was busy almost 24 hours a day. The phone was all blown up, and the operator responsible for answering the phone directly exhausted 2 of them. Faced with Editor-in-Chief Liang's urging for updates and threats, Li Jie paid no attention and directly replied, "Updating is not important for having a wife." This made Editor-in-Chief Liang jump with anger, first threatening, then pleading, and using all means possible, almost coming to his door. Later on, Li Jie was really stubborn and hurriedly rushed out an article before the editor-in-chief let him go. Through this period of contact, Li Jie fell in love with the little girl in front of him from the bottom of his heart. Now, he is not getting along with her with a mindset of completing tasks, but with a cultivated mindset, he is gradually making Gung Gung better and more outstanding. Just like a hard-working gardener, regularly pruning and watering, it's a bit like planting flowers, waiting for the sense of anticipation when the flowers bloom. Recently, there has been a significant improvement in Gung Gung's grades in the tutoring program. Every time he returns home, his back is also straight, and his family status rises sharply. Usually, her father and stepmother pay increasing attention to her, which makes her bloodless younger brother very jealous, and her parents show less concern for him. She doesn't reject the gossip between her and Li Jie that has been circulating on campus recently. Gung Gung feels very comfortable getting along with Li Jie, especially since there's nothing else between them. Well, they're just sitting at the same table. It's not like what they spread. At first, it was okay, but later it became more and more outrageous. However, Gung Gung doesn't really care about it now. Another exam week has arrived, and now Gung Gung can face the exam with ease. He will no longer be as timid as he was during the first midterm exam. After all, we have the Road Star River Beast. Gung Gung proudly thought of it. Perhaps she hasn't realized that she's been opening her mouth and closing her mouth recently. After the math papers were distributed, as this was a small exam, there was no class division and disruption like the big exam. Li Jie used his arm to pound Gung Gung, who was clearly still outside the wandering object, and said, "The exam is starting, what a fool." As if his mind had been exposed, Gung Gung's face turned red, thinking that he had just been discussing Li Jie in secret, just like being caught stealing. Li Jie flipped through the exam paper and glanced roughly at the questions, saying, "This time the questions are not difficult, and I have told you many types of questions. Strive for a high score this time, come on. Go on. You too, even though I know you must be full marks again. Gung Gung. Don't whisper, keep quiet during the exam." Mathematics teacher Zhang Feng shouted to the audience. I protested a little in my heart that the teacher was really unfair, and the discrimination between good and bad students was too obvious. Gung Gung picked up the exam paper and started working on the questions seriously. Li Jie smiled slightly and picked up the pen in his hand, dividing it into 2 and 3 strokes, and finished writing the exam paper. Zhang Feng paced back and forth to inspect the examination room, and when he came to Li Jie's side, he saw that his writing had stopped. He took the test paper to the podium and sat down to roughly review it. He found that it was basically correct, and it was once again a perfect score. What a genius! Most students haven't finished their multiple-choice questions yet, and Lu Xinghe has already finished it. It's really a terrible efficiency. Can Lu Xinghe participate in the Math Olympiad competition? If the Math Olympiad is as talented as it is now, then Zhenhua will have another CMO gold medal, and the IMO gold medal is not impossible to look forward to, Zhang Feng thought to himself from the podium. As an activist, he then picked up his phone and asked Zhang Ping to take a set of Olympiad math questions from his desk and send them over. Lu Xinghe, please do this set of questions. Zhang Feng walked to Li Jie's desk with the test paper he had just delivered. Oh, okay. This set of test papers is a bit interesting. Is this the normal difficulty level? Li Jie thought while working on the questions. After spending an hour finishing it, Li Jie walked to the podium and handed the test papers to Zhang Feng, saying, "Teacher, I'm done." Zhang Feng quickly reviewed the answer and was shocked. This. How could it be? It was done in such a short amount of time again, and still maintains 100% accuracy. It's really scary. Dingling. Dingling. The bell for the end of class interrupted Zhang Feng's thoughts, and Zhang Feng, who had regained his senses, took a deep look at Li Jie. Alright, students are handing in their papers. Those who haven't finished writing will stop writing. Although this exam may be a bit difficult, it's not a big deal for you arrogant kids. The class representative will collect the papers and deliver them to my office. Looking at Zhang Feng slightly hunched back as he left, Li Jie thought to himself, did I act too far and scare him? P.S. Zhang Feng, a black man with a question mark face, said, do you not have any points yourself? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Winter Vacation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 9. Division of Arts and Sciences. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Division of Arts and Sciences. A semester has passed, and Zhang Feng's obsession with Li Jie's participation in Olympiad math has not dissipated. One day, Li Jie was called to the office and was persuaded by Zhang Feng in every way. Looking at Zhang Feng who was patiently speaking, Li Jie looked around and found that there were only the two of them in the office. Teacher, I can give you specific reasons for rejection, but can you keep it a secret for me? Li Jie said confidently. What exactly is the reason? It's definitely not a problem for you to participate in the Math Olympiad and win the prize at your level. You can directly recommend Shuemu and Yanda. This is a great opportunity that others can't think of, but you easily rejected it. Zhang Feng looked a bit excited and couldn't bear to let go of such a good opportunity. Li Jie continued to ask, "Teacher, can you keep it a secret?" "You tell me, I will keep it a secret for you. I can't figure out what might make you refuse the opportunity to be recommended." "I have been refusing the teacher all along, actually because I have been writing the novel, The Devotion of Suspect X, and really don't have time to participate in the Math Olympiad competition." Zhang Feng's mouth was as if someone had stuffed an egg, his expression shocked, and he said with a slightly awkward voice, "Are you joking? How could it be? How could a high school student write such a classic novel? You should also make up your reasons to be more like that, right?" Li Jie had long known about this situation, so before coming today, he specially brought with him the manuscript he had just written and had not yet had time to send it out. "Teacher, this is the manuscript I haven't submitted yet. After you read it, you'll know if it's true." Li Jie took out a USB drive and plugged it into Zhang Feng's computer at his desk, skillfully opening the latest issue of the manuscript. Watching Li Jie step by step open the folder and present the latest manuscript in front of Zhang Feng was shocked for a long time and couldn't recall it. At this point, he basically believed that The Devotion of Suspect X was written by Li Jie. No one will be bored to enter the manuscripts in the magazine into the computer word for word, and look at the manuscripts that have obviously not been serialized, just like the style of the author before tomorrow. Zhang Feng had to accept this incredible fact that The Devotion of Suspect X was written by the under 18-year-old high school boy in front of him. Thinking of this, Zhang Feng couldn't help but give up his fantasy of Li Jie participating in the Math Olympiad. A popular serialized writer and literary rising star like him really didn't need to prove himself again on the Math Olympiad field. "I will keep it a secret for you, you go," Zhang Feng said in silence. Looking at Zhang Feng with a gloomy expression, Li Jie opened his mouth to comfort him, but he didn't know where to start. After all, it was his own fault. He shook his head and Li Jie walked out of the office. As soon as he walked to the door, he suddenly noticed a little chubby guy with a clearly shocked expression on his face. Li Jie thought to himself, "I've been messed up. Someone heard me." After patting the stunned little chubby guy, he came back to his senses and saw Li Jie with a very excited expression. His idol left the little chubby guy at a loss and said incoherently, %. Li Jie shook the chubby little boy's body and saw his emotions noticeably decline. "Little chubby, you will keep it a secret for me, right? The reason I don't want to disclose it is because I want to finish high school quietly. You won't cruelly break my wish, will you?" Why? Why can't you openly admit your identity, and it doesn't seem like something bad, right?" the chubby little man asked with a puzzled expression. "Think about it, once my identity is exposed, how can the overwhelming media and reports make me feel at ease on campus? I may be forced to take a leave of absence at that time." Upon hearing that Li Jie was forced to take a leave of absence from school, the chubby little man suddenly panicked. "Oh my, if I take a leave of absence, I won't be able to see my idol." Then he patted his chest and assured Li Jie that he would not reveal his identity as a writer and would never let anyone else know. Li Jie nodded and saw such a chubby little man on the road. He then promised to give him a set of handwritten collection versions after the publication of The Devotion of Suspect X. A few days ago, Liang Yuan, the editor-in-chief of Mengye magazine, informed Li Jie that several publishing houses have contacted him to prepare for publication of The Devotion of Suspect X, but they cannot find the author, so they contacted him. Li Jie then fully authorized Liang Yuan to handle the publishing issue. "Really? The dedication of Suspect X is going to be published in physical form. Great, I will definitely buy more sets to support you." I want to share this news, can I?" "Of course, this news will be reported in a couple of days." Li Jie looked at the excited little chubby man with a little helplessness, patted his shoulder to remind him not to forget the important matter of coming to the office, and then turned around and walked towards the classroom. With an excited expression on his face, the chubby little man walked to the office and saw Zhang Feng, who was expressionless, saying, "Teacher, the class monitor asked me to come and pick up this week's homework." Zhang Feng weakly pointed to the homework notebook placed on his desk, and the chubby little man then left the office without looking back, holding his homework head and feeling that something was not quite right. "Lu Xinghe, did teacher Zhang Feng just ask you to go to the office because you chose to study humanities? Why do you have to study humanities so well in science?" Gung Gung asked nervously. "For you. That's why I chose to study humanities," Li Jie replied in a tone that was half joking and half serious. "Wow. Wow. Gung Gung. Lu Xinghe is also too kind to you. He doesn't even admit that there is anything between you two. Whenever we have a vacation, the two of us go out to play. Now, for your sake, we choose to study humanities like you," Beta said nervously beside her. Gung Gung blushed greatly at Li Jie's answer and Beta's words, and ran out of the classroom as if he had escaped. Beta quickly chased after her, but when she saw her following, Li Jie didn't follow her, so as not to make Gung Gung feel embarrassed. Let her calm down a bit. On the rooftop, Gung Gung Beta, whose face was still slightly red, asked, "Hey, Gung Gung, what do you think? Lu Xinghe gave up science to study humanities for you. It's clearly Sima Zhao's heart. What are you talking about? We just agreed to be desk mates all the time," Gung Gung said with a little guilty. Okay. 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 You're just desk mates, by the way, and it was my fault just now. I shouldn't say that about you and Lu Xinghe in front of everyone in class, Beta said while shaking Gung Gung's arm in a coquettish manner. It's okay, I don't mind, after all, everyone has been rumoring about our relationship. Gung Gingsai wouldn't admit that he just ran out because of Li Jie's words, not because Beta was afraid of speaking calmly. That's agreed, we are lifelong good friends. Well, we are lifelong good friends, Gung Gung said earnestly, holding Beta's hand and lifting it to his chest. As the class bell rang, the two of them hurriedly ran towards the classroom, destroying the serious atmosphere they had just created, leaving only the sound of running downstairs. Seeking collection and recommendation, seeking support for newcomers and new books. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Devotion of Suspect X, Storm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator.